Okay.
Okay, then I might continue.
Sure, go ahead.
My name is David Usch. I'm working for the Swiss National Topography Office, Swiss Topo, and I'm feeling great today because after 15 years of struggle, we will publish all the marvelous Swiss maps as open data on the 1st of March. That's why I'm in here to see if we can do something together on the 6th of March on the Open Data Day. I'll post you a link to our portal with our 800 datasets where you can browse our marvelous official Swiss data.
Great, fantastic. Thanks.
I can continue if you want. I'm Carlos. I'm from Catalonia, Spain, based in the UK, working for the Swiss Polo Institute. And I'm happy to know that there's more Swiss data, map data available. And later on, I'll be presenting the schema collaboration project that I've done, so I'll talk more later.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll go next. Hi, I'm Richard Osler from Rothamsted Research in the UK. We're an agricultural research institute, and we're starting to use frictionless data to manage some of our pipelines for our field experiments data. So this is my first time on one of these calls as well. So it's yeah, just getting into this community.
Great, welcome.
Hi, I'm Peter Desmet, also my first call. Have been publishing biodiversity data for over 10 years as open data, and recently, and also involved in developing standards for this type of data. And recently jumped on frictionless data, and we're now working on being able to exchange camera trap data, where we want to use the frictionless schemas to exchange camera trap data. So very curious to know more about the experience of other communities using frictionless data schemas for their standards. Based in Belgium.
Great, thanks.
I can keep the theme going as I'm also based in Belgium, and it's also my first call. So I'm Matthew. I'm actually in the UK, but I'm a postdoc at UC Louvain in Belgium, joint with Cambridge here. And I'm a materials chemist or computational chemist by training, and I've been quite involved in sort of standardizing some computational chemistry and material science data. And I'm very interested in hearing some of specifically the schema collaboration stuff, because we're looking at developing new schemas for materials chemistry that can be as flexible as possible.
Thanks.
Cool, I'll jump in. My name is Oleg Kavrovsky. I'm one of the directors of the Swiss Open Knowledge Chapter and involved with frictionless data for a long time. And I'm a software developer and entrepreneur, I guess, with some projects in several fields. But last week, I actually worked on a chemistry project to help create data packages together with Giuseppe Pernato, who's also on the call today. We did a little project that maybe we'll also drop a link to you for show and share later on. But yeah, very excited to meet you all, and happy to be on the call.
I can jump in then, since I was mentioned. So my name is Giuseppe. I'm a postdoc at the IDIAP Research Institute in Switzerland, working with geodata and energy data. And yeah, I started using frictionless a few months ago, and trying to incorporate this in my workflow with energy geodata.
Thanks.
Yeah, maybe the other person associated there would be me. That's Torben. I'm also working in Switzerland together with Oleg on a startup called CVD. And we are working with geodata, for instance, things like what is published by Swiss Topo and others, for trying to make planning, at least in Switzerland, maybe beyond, more evidence-based, more data-based. And yeah, I'm an architect by training, so I'm not the data engineer, but I've been working with Frictionless for quite some time now. For instance, due to Oleg, but also many other things. And yeah, we've been working on pipelines and other things with Frictionless. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry. So I'm Francisco Alves, happy to be here. This is my first call as well. I'm from Brazil, from the state of Minas Gerais. I am responsible for running our open data portal. I'm trying to use Frictionless as the standard that the departments need to use to actually publish open data. So I think this today is going to be a very interesting chance to talk about this.
I'm Holger from Stuttgart in Germany, south of Germany, and I'm a freelance IT mobility consultant. And I came across Frictionless as I'm currently republishing some open data sets which are inaccessible, and then data packages were very interesting for me, and I'm happy to be here for the first time as well.
Welcome as well.
Hi, sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Evelyn Knight. I'm from Kenya. I'm a master's student studying genetic diversity of insect communities in avocado plantations. I met open knowledge when I joined the Frictionless Data Fellowship. I'm being tutored by Lily. This is my first community call, and I'm feeling so little over here. I'm looking forward to learning from all of you guys, and hopefully in the future, kind of also give back. Thank you.
Thanks and welcome.
Am I the only one left? Not sure, but I'll go. I'm Lily, and I'm the product owner for Frictionless Data at the Open Knowledge Foundation. And I've talked to many of you before, and it's really great to see you. And I'm really looking forward to Carlos's presentation today. And then maybe David, were you putting your hand up? You haven't gone yet?
I haven't gone yet, sorry. I'm Manuel. I'm a neuroscientist and psychologist. I work in Oxford, and I'm interested in using frictionless data to combine data sets in my field, and specifically data on rest activity cycles and kind of the sleep research field. Very excited about this. I think this is my second call, probably.
Thanks. I'm not sure, is anyone left? Or did anyone get a chance to introduce himself or herself? Yeah, okay, I think everyone spoke. So Lily shared with us the agenda in the chat here, so you can have a look. If you want to add anything to the agenda, feel free to do so. Also, if you have any questions during this call, raise your hand, don't be shy. Yeah, so basically I think that now we can move to Carlos' presentation, if Carlos, you're ready.
Yes, I am. I'll share the screen so you can see presentation and demo. So if I go here, and can you see presentation, a slide? Yeah, okay. I don't see all of you, but I see some of you. So yeah, the title, as you know, is the collaborating to describe data sets using frictionless data schemas. And well, there's some information here. I just added this slide when you were talking and all doing the presentation, but just a few words about me. I'm a self-engineer at the Swiss Pol Institute part-time, and I do a lot of Python and Django. I'm not a researcher. I work with some scientists and part of the admin side of the Swiss Pol Institute. And I've been working with researchers for many years in different things. The slides, I think they're only 6 slides, I think, and then I'll do the demo, which is the main part, by the way. I'll not do many slides. So the schema collaboration was funded via the Frictionless Tool Fund last year. It's more or less as finished as any software can be, like it's functional, but more changes, bugs, maintenance keep coming, but it's ready to be used. And a very brief description is that this is a tool that enables the data package creator to be used in a collaboratively way. I have never written, but my odd explanation is that this allows to write data packages and data schemas as a Google Docs. Like you can collaborate different people writing at the more or less the same time to write a data schema package. Data package, sorry. So like Google Docs to work on a data package. And the problem that we saw in the Swiss Pol Institute is that without the schema collaboration, we had in this situation a data manager. And this doesn't need to be an official data manager, can be anyone who is writing the data package. And this person was working with different researchers asking via email, please, can you describe these fields? So, which is the format of these fields, which constraints it has, how many files you have, which license this is, who is the main author, who is this. So it was kind of a one-to-one collaboration, usually by mail in this case. And usually it was happening for each data package with a set of researchers at the same time. And you can multiply this by, I don't know, 20 data packages that are being published at the same time. And so this person here, data manager, or who is more or less in charge of writing the data package, it was hard for them to keep tab on what's next, what's done, what this team needs to do, and all of this. So with this schema collaboration, we have an application in the middle, which I have it in the right-hand side. And they collaborate and they interact usually with this application that I'll show you in 2 slides. So instead of sending emails and keeping folders and then writing JSON manually, if this was the case, everyone puts their input here in terms of messages, comments, and filling in all the data package. And then it outputs this in JSON like before, or PDF or Markdown, and it's all archived. For people that like technology, like me, this was done in Python and Django. It's done in Python and Django. And for the database, it's all ready to be used using SQLite if you want to test this locally, if you are into Django or even only Docker. Or it can use a MariaDB, like a MySQL server that you might have in your institution, if this was the case, or that you can set up. And there's plenty of documentation explaining how to either test this locally, so just sit down on a server, or how to deploy this in a server using Docker containers. I said that the documentation is clear, but if you get stuck at any point, just get in touch and I'll be happy to help. And here I have the links. So this is it. This is a public instance that anyone can go. Like you can go now or later. This usually is, well, it's always running if you want to test the application. And there's the GitHub link and the latest blog from the Frictionless blog. So if I open the live demo, you should see my Firefox. This, but by the way, if you have any question, you can interrupt me anytime. If you raise your hand, I might miss you, but if you talk, I'll hear you. This template, the homepage, it can be changed by institution, so you can put any HTML logos or whatever you would fancy. But the main thing here is that it has two areas, one that is public area and one that is behind the management area. I'll create a new data set, a very simple one, and then we will see in the public area what a collaborator could see. So if I go to the management area, and if I log out, I was testing this earlier. So if you excuse me, I go to the management area, so you see all the journey. And in this instance, there is a demo user that is Alice, the data manager, and there's this password for this username. So I'll be wearing two hats, but I'll try to say it explicitly when I'm changing my hat. And is that when I'm in this view, I'm the data manager, and I can create data packages. I can edit and list all the data packages that are hosted in the application. And I can create collaborators and add comments and all of these that I'll be explaining. There's another view that is I'm a scientist or researcher collaborating, and it doesn't have this left-hand side pane, and it's a bit simplified. So for now, what I would like to do is, as a data manager, create a data package. And when I click there, it opens the data package creator. This is an existing Frictionless project, and it's very nice. But to me, it had the problem or missing feature, which is what we're adding here, that people couldn't share data packages that were done in the data package creator. But all that you see, besides these three buttons, all that you see here is done by the data package creator project in Frictionless. I don't know if some of you have seen it, this before. I'll very quickly add a few resources, and I can add here, well, maybe I'll add, I have no ideas now, but forest, for example, and I'll add a field in forest, and I'll add the ID, and I'll say that this is a number, for example, and I'll add another field here that is flower, and it is a string, for example, and you could more or less define everything that you can write in a Frictionless data package. And I'll have a title, the flower that was observed, and maybe unique number or something like this. And here on the left, we can enter some basic information. I'll add the keyword that is nature and science, for example. And this is the flowers of the forest, something like this. Sorry about that. And I think that nothing here is mandatory, if I remember correctly. So what I can do now is save to server. And this has been saved now into the server. If I do the exit package creator, in this list of packages, we have this new package that has just been created by me, the flowers of the forest, and Alisa Data Manager is a collaborator. Here we have some buttons. Every time that you see this F is the Frictionless data package creator. So if I press here, it opens the frictionless data package creator with this data set in case that I want to add some information or add some field, for example, collection time. And then I say that it's a date time, and I save to server, and I exit. So this has been saved now. The idea is that I would like to ask for one of the, well, I'll create a collaborator. For example, I'll create one more. I'll call it John the Frictionless Collaborator. I'll create a collaborator, and then in this case, I'll go to the data package. I'll go to the manage the data package. And here I can, well, this is the view of the data package detail, but in edit manage, I'll say that John the Frictionless Collaborator is one of the collaborators here. So now this package has two collaborators. If I go to the John the Frictionless Collaborator, we can list his data packages or copy the list of data packages. If I do the copy, and now I'll go into a private window, I'm opening the view of this collaborator, John the Frictionless. And this doesn't need any username or password, is unique based on the UUID that we have here. So the data manager or similar role could send this link and say, well, check your data packages that you should be maybe helping at the moment. And this view, these comments, because they can leave comments with each other, like at the license, at the description of the field, so whatever needs to be done. And John can press edit. And the data package is loading, the data package that we had before loads and maybe says, okay, I should say that this collection time is the time based on the GPS to the minutes precision. And can say that the author is John the well, John will be the author, and the license, for example, CC BY 4. So in this step, the collaborator can do anything here. And when they finish, they can do the save to server, exit the data package creator, and say, can leave a message here, say, all done. That's a comment. Now I'll change to the non-private window Firefox. So I'm back into the other interface. And if I go to the manage data package, we can see that it's all done. The data manager, for example, can click on edit data package and verify that, yeah, the description is done. The author is here, the license is done. So I can say, there are no changes, but I say, thanks very much. All done. Add a new comment, and then can go to the edit view and say that this data package is completed now, so it's all finished. And save this back, and can go to the data packages, and this now is completed here. When this is done, and I'm finishing soon, just to show this, that we can download the data package using the normal schema that some of you probably are familiar with. Oops. And this came, interestingly, in RStudio that I didn't expect, but I was testing some R yesterday, but we see the all the data package as we know it here. And the collaborators can do the same. It can be in Markdown, and we will have a very basic Markdown that has all the fields here. It would have the description and other information if I did more work. Or it can be downloaded as PDF, which I'm opening as well. And this is, again, the same information, but on PDF. So ideally, probably, or I hope that the researchers, collaborators, when they finish, they can do a output as PDF. And somehow then they will see that, oops, there are some missing information, like it's very clear here. I could build some other tool to validate missing information, but I don't know, somehow typos appear on PDF and printed paper more than on some screens sometimes. And as I said, the collaborator view, if I go here, has these 3 buttons as well. If to be finishing soon, if I had, I think this is a more completed data set here. So this one had a longer data set description, list of keywords, contributor, version, and I'll zoom in here. All the fields with title, names, description, format. You can see it better than my simplified example. And to finish all that I wanted to explain, if I go to the documentation, here is documentation for data managers that basically explains in more detail what I explained. And as I said, feel free to get in touch, but if you want to read the documentation, I think there's all the journey, like I've done similar to now, all the journey as a data manager, creating a data set and sharing this. And there are a few more things that can work. There's access to the Django admin site for some operations that are not day-to-day operations that one can define. For example, the different statuses. This can be changed per institution if you want. If instead of completed, draft in progress, which is the default, if you would like being reviewed, or step 1 revision, step 2, it can be all changed without changing the code. And I think this is all that I wanted to say. Do you have any questions?
Peter, you can go if you want.
So if I understand correctly, this is to collaborate on the metadata of a specific data package.
Yeah.
And as a manager of a list of data packages. So
Yeah.
I was a little bit confused by the title schema collaboration, because it is not necessarily working on a schema for multiple packages that is the same schema for all those packages. It is working on the specific metadata of one package.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion. We had a hard time choosing a name.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it's the best one.
Okay, thanks.
Matthew, you can go next if you want.
Yeah, hi, thanks for the nice talk. I was wondering how you handle like versioning of the metadata after it's being edited by some, hopefully not malicious collaborator, but if they mess it up some way, is there any way to deal with that?
At the moment, no. And I have a ticket on GitHub and a plan to work on this. Very quickly, but the most simple plan that I've done in other projects there is a Django extension that is simple history, and then you can, on each update of a row, it creates a copy that you can access easily and go back in time, kind of thing. This is a thing that I need to fix and or implement. And another thing is what happens if two collaborators are working on this at the same time and they create a conflict, which is kind of the same type of problem.
Cool, thanks. Sounds good.
I think Mantas wrote a question in the chat. Mantas, do you want to read it out, or I read it for you, or Carlos reads it?
I can read it myself.
Thanks.
So the question was, can data package creator handle hundreds of resources and thousands of fields? Because it looks that it is designed to just for very small data sets with few fields and few resources. Not related actually to collaborator, but still.
I haven't had problems with medium-sized data packages. And I'm talking about the number of fields and number of resources. But I don't know if Lily would know better if you've tried to take it more to the extreme of hundreds and hundreds. I mean, hundreds of fields for hundreds of data resources.
Yes, and it should be able to handle large amounts of data. It might slow down. And off the top of my head, I'm not sure what that limit is when it starts to slow down. Yes, but theoretically, it should be able to handle lots of resources with many fields. And if you do reach that limit, then I would suggest going and using our Python code which has the same functionality instead of using the browser tool, which has slightly limited functionality. And I can put that link into the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Now that you're talking about limits, does the collaborator limit the number of people who can edit the data package, or it just takes everybody?
So everybody that has a link can edit it. And it has advantage that no username and password is needed. Obviously, the collaborator could share this link with another person, and then we don't know who is editing, if the first collaborator or someone else that got the link. And the number of collaborators, I mean, we can keep adding collaborators, and it wouldn't be a problem in number of collaborators in the system. I'm not sure if I haven't answered the question that you meant to ask or that I understood, just let me know.
No, it's okay. I get it.
Yeah, excellent.
Francisco, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you. So I was wondering if it's on the roadmap to store the actual data package.json on a Git repo somewhere, because in the workflow that we're trying to create here in Minas Gerais, we're trying to push the data curators to actually use version control for the underlying metadata. But we are struggling to find an interface where people with less technical background could use, but I don't want to kind of make it impossible for the technical people to actually work with their favorite tools and workflows for editing JSON directly.
I like this idea. A lot in an issue on GitHub, and I kind of see that on the safe, for example, it could do a git commit, for example. So people who likes using Git and JSON, which to be honest, I think it would be me, or I would be one of these people, could interact with the same with the same schemas or easier, or with the tools. So it's not done. I'll add a ticket, and I like the idea of having the best of 2 worlds. Thanks.
There's another question from Mantas in the chat.
I'll stop sharing the screen because I don't think I can see the. Okay. Well, stop sharing the screen. I'll try again if needed.
Okay. So probably you read the question. The question is, can you just import the schema from existing data source? Like just give a URL to CSV files or a database, and it will just import using this functionality.
So on what I've been doing and using sometimes is in the schema collaborator, create a new data package. And when the data package creator, the orange interface, opens, you can load a schema, and it pre-populates the majority of the fields based on the schema. The ones that it didn't, I opened some data package creator bugs, and some are fixed now. You can also upload a CSV file on the data package creator, and it does some infer. It's limited to the, so it infers less, last time I checked, less good or not as good as the frictionless pi. I think, for example, it was inferring on the first top 100 rows and discarding some after this. I think Lily might know better than me, if you don't mind, Lily.
Yes, you 100. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, so yes, you can infer things to a certain extent. Actually, it can even validate, so you can infer things, change the schema, all the metadata, and validate again if it passes.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Any more questions or feedback that you would like to give Carlos? Francisco.
One of the struggles that we had with the package creator was that it doesn't allow for non-standard properties, or even some properties that are on the specs but are not listed. Did you make any changes regarding that, or you are just using the package creator as it is?
I'm using as it is, and as part of the schema collaboration tool fund, we added some hooks or plugin feature in the data package create, and this is what it allows now anyone to add buttons for save to server, load from server, and exit the data package creator. So it's exactly the same, with the same good and limitations, if you want to say, as a standard one, plus the buttons, if it helps you to understand the capabilities. I think, and sorry, Lily, if I mentioned you again, I think that there were plans this year to have another revamp on the frictionless data creator, if I remember correctly, or no, I don't remember.
That is on our technical roadmap. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other question or comment? Okay, if not, first, I want to thank you very much, Carlos, for the presentation, which was very insightful. And yes, let's give him a clap of hands. So yeah, we can just quickly go over some of other information that we wanted to share with you. So one thing is that we are, probably you already know, some of you already participated also in that. We're partnering with the Open Data Institute, and we are reviewing all our documentations for frictionless data in order for it to be more useful and helpful for people that start using frictionless data, but also people that are intermediate into frictionless data. At the moment, we are doing feedback sessions. Some of the people here participated already in our first feedback session yesterday. So in the coming months, probably you will see a big improvement in our current documentation and also new documentation coming up. So we'll have, for example, an overview section and probably some tutorials. But yeah, so keep tuned and you'll see all of that happening. Other announcements. So there's the Open Data Day happening on the 6th of March. Probably you all know already about it, but yeah, so there are mini grants available of $300, yes, if you're interested in running a community event in your community. So in the agenda, you have the link in the chat. There is a link to all these events, so you can, I can actually share it also here again on the chat. But you will find everything on the agenda. And last but not least, there's also the CSV conference happening on May 4th and 5th. And so if ever you want to give a talk in that great conference, make sure to submit a proposal by the end of February.
I could just stick my hand up for that one. CSV conference is a great place to give a talk about frictionless data. There have been talks in the past and people are always interested. It's a virtual conference, so it's easier to get to than it has been in previous years. And it happens probably during like East Coast US time zones that should overlap with Europe, but that's still being figured out. So if you're interested, definitely apply.
Yeah. Do you want to share anything with us? Yeah, Oleg.
Well, I just want to say that CSV Conf has had so much amazing content over the years, and there are several talks which go into nuts and bolts of frictionless data as well. And also would really love to apply, but like with the Open Data Day call, I would really love to hear if anyone here on this call is thinking about it, and if so, basically, well, would like to co-apply for a session, because it's always more fun if it's not just you versus the world. That's one thing I would like to suggest. And the other is for Open Data Day. That's just a great opportunity to organize quick Skype calls between, like we're doing now, but maybe more, in the spirit of international solidarity, etc. To host different countries. And I'm definitely thinking about running an event here in Switzerland, and would love to have any one of you from. We have a lot of people interest here in Switzerland, but would love to hear someone from another country, especially if you're working on anything that's geodata related. Let's talk about that.
Thanks. Lily?
Thanks. I just +1 to everything Oleg said. And on the Frictionless Fellow side, we are likely planning some kind of event around Open Data Day, and we're still figuring that out. Evelyn is one of the people that is working on that. So we'll be posting about that when we have more details, but stay tuned for that one. And I'm one of the organizers of CSV Conf. And so if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Thanks.
Will there be live llamas? Sorry, I have to ask.
Yes.
I don't know. Have llamas been affected by the pandemic? It's a cause of concern to me personally.
As far as I know, they have not been affected by the pandemic, and more than anyone else. They will be present, and we've already been in communication with them. So yes, there will be llamas.
One quick thing, if I
Mhm.
can. The next weekend, there's the Fosdem Conference, which is a very big online conference. And there's one dev room, developers room, that Lily is involved as well. And there's a similar talk to the one that you've seen about the schema collaboration. I'll copy paste the open research tools and technologies, because I guess that some people here might be interested in some of the topics.
Thanks, Carlos. Peter,
Totally. Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just curious, since the topic was schema collaboration, more on if you were, for example, a community or data managers that is using the same schema for a whole bunch of data packages. Where are discussions happening around using frictionless schemas or building upon frictionless to develop that kind of schema? So let's say, like I said before, I'm working with this camera trap data, and we're working in a GitHub repository where we have a specific profile and specific table schemas. But I'm just curious if other people are also doing this, creating standards where you can then say, oh, you're providing a data package according to this schema. I would like to validate that against that schema. How is that kind of development of schemas going, and how are users that are using those schemas validating their things? I'm just curious of other communities doing this.
Hi, Peter. Yeah, it's something that we're interested in doing for agricultural data, and particularly for sharing agricultural data. But yeah, I'm not aware of anything else that's going on around it. So if there is stuff, I'd love to hear about it.
Yes, I'll try to post the link that we have for the camera trap data. But yeah, so far it's just 3 table schemas and 1 profile. We have a bit of problems posting the link. And the tools that are available in Frictionless Py are, it's possible to validate all the table schemas, but it is a bit difficult to link out to an external table schema or and then not use certain fields, and especially building or adding more fields to the data package, like the package level thing. For example, if you would want to add, you have contributors, that is a common field, but if you would like to have project information, that is, some of it is required. How to validate that in Frictionless Py is unclear. And yeah, I also don't want to just bug the developers of Frictionless Py all the time in having these questions, because I cannot be the only one who's trying this.
So when you say validate, are you talking about, you know, on the back end or using code, or like using some kind of user interface?
In the backend. So basically, I would just like to use on the command line frictionless validate data package for a data package that I developed. Yeah,
sorry, go on.
And it is possible to do that with the table schemas. It can validate that, but I have to verbosely add the full table schema in my data package, which is fine. But for the schema itself, like everything that exists on the data set level, you can only validate, is it a data package, yes or no? For example, contributors fields, but other things, it's a bit hard to do.
So far I've been using JSON schema to do validations of custom files, and it hasn't been an issue. Could you not host your schemas online somewhere, and then the users could just download them for validation as needed?
So yes,
so you're just trying to find something more like compact, I guess, or
yes. So
cohesive.
they are hosted, and basically, if you create the data package, you could just copy paste the full table schemas for your resources. That all works. You could also just link out to the raw format. But for the data package level, so we have one file called the camtrap dp profile. That one, the validation for that one just works on the generic profile, because you define it at the top saying this is a data package, the profile is data package. And it is very hard to link out to like a schema that you want to provide there.
I see. Okay.
But more than just trying to solve this specific problem, we're also thinking of how do we organize this standard? Is it just a file with the profile and then 3 files for the table schemas? I'm curious how other people who want to develop schemas for a certain community are hosting these and structuring these.
I think it's a good question, but we are very limited on time of these calls. But I would suggest that you have an issue tracker. Just give us a link to an issue which raises the question. More than happy to comment on it.
I agree. And Peter, it would, I don't know who, was that somebody?
No, go ahead, Lily.
Okay, I was going to say that I think this is a great topic for conversation. In our next call, I think we're going to have our main developer, Yevgeny, give a demo of Frictionless Pi, but maybe we could also have some time dedicated to continuing this conversation. But I really like Oleg's idea of talking about it. Maybe, would you mind, Peter, if we put it in the Discord chat to try and talk about it somewhere there?
No, that's okay. I'm currently not on the Discord chat, so it would be useful if I'm invited there then.
I can send you the link.
So I can participate. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to have feedback of how others have done this. Is it something missing in the tooling, or is it something that I should try to tackle otherwise? Yeah.
Cool. And Francisco's had his hand up for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to say that I don't have that problem right now, but I think if I am successful at standardizing the use of data packages in the state of Minas Gerais, we are eventually going to bump into that problem, because right now I just want to document the kind of unique CSVs that the departments are publishing. So we are not doing any creating profiles for specific use cases or doing that kind of federated data publishing where several departments are publishing according to a single schema. But eventually, if I am successful, I'm going to hit that problem. So I'm very interested in keep talking and listen what you are already facing so that I can think what's going to happen in a few months, maybe.
Wonder in the long run if it would make sense to think about having some kind of central repository or site for hosting people's schemas that they've been working on. So that way, if you want to go find a schema in your field, you're not just searching Google to hopefully come across the right place.
I know that the French Open Data Agency, they are using the schemas, and they have instructions for how departments that are creating schemas that other departments need to abide by. That's confusing, but I think they have instructions for that type of problem, and they are using Frictionless in that sense. So I never actually make a full read of the documentation that they produced, because I'm not there yet, but I think I'm going to read and then post on the Discord channel if it's at all related to the discussion here.
Okay, I think we're running out of time now. We're almost full. But yeah, it would be very, very useful, I think, if we can continue this conversation on Discord. So I've added the link in the chat. And if you go on the agenda, you will also find, so again, the link to our Discord chat, but also to our Twitter account. So feel free to continue this conversation there. And as Lily said, we're really happy to keep on talking about it also in the next call. If you go onto the agenda, there's also a space where you can propose anything that you would like to discuss next time. So feel free to add anything there. I think that some people already did. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Carlos, for your amazing presentation. And So the topic for the next call. So Evgeny, our developer, is going to be there and is going to give a demo, I think, of Frictionless Pi. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lily. Yes, it's rolled. And yeah, so once again, thanks for joining, and hopefully see you again for the next call at the end of February, probably the 25th.
Thanks very much.
Thanks,
for organizing.
everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.